BeastNet Podcast, sponsored in part by James Safety Services, OCR Buddy, and supported by the fitness community. Here we discuss all things fitness related, running, rucking, mental health and preparedness, and of course, obstacle course racing. Welcome to the BeastNet.
Hey everybody, Pretty Mike here with BeastNet, and today I got with me Dave. Dave, let everyone know who you are, a little about Dave.
Well, my name's Dave. I'm about 45 years old and work for a prestigious software and devices and services company. I'll put it that way. And got involved in obstacle course racing back in about 2016 with Tough Mudder Whistler, British Columbia, which was really tough. And did my first Spartan in 2016 down in Washougal and just got hooked ever since. And just used Spartan as a way to better myself. Started the whole Common Man OCR kind of movement here last year, just to prove to folks that, you know, an average guy like me can do it, so can you. So
that's kind of. I mean, we both know that because I mean, you've seen me at the size that I was before, and I was, I was still doing them. So yeah. I mean, you can do them and you can have fun with them.
Oh yeah, totally.
And I think that's where a lot of people have that competitive nature that they want to be the best. It's like, I swim better than I was yesterday.
Well, and that's the thing with like the idea of Common Man is if you can improve 1% day by day, week by week, month by month, great. Year by year. When I first got started in this, I had a friend of mine, and he's kind of laxed off about this mentality now, but you have to go as fast as you possibly can. You can't stop. You can't take a break. And you got to go to your body hurts. And it's like, well, hold on. I just want to get it done. So, that's the thing is you got to have some fun with it too. I'm not out there competing against Amelia Boone's or, Rose Wetzel's or anything like that. I'm out there competing against me. So.
Well, it's one of those things too. It's like, you said the thing, you got to go till your body hurts. There's been days that was getting out of bed.
Yeah. That was my day this morning, actually, with my workout last night. It's like, I don't want to move.
My body hurt. I got out of bed. I'm good.
Exactly.
So, I mean, it's really your perspective on that one. But, that's kind of one of the things you see a lot. You get those people that are just like, go. And I'm like, I've had multiple conversations about this where if you gave me the choice where I'm running and I could podium, but if I podiumed, that person I just went past isn't going to finish the race, I'm going to stop and help that person.
Absolutely. I'll sacrifice them. I'd sacrifice a podium in a heartbeat if I ever had the chance of making one.
Yeah, but... I mean, not that that's going to happen soon, anytime soon. But that's what I mean. It's the podium sounds fun to me, but what makes me and drives me and keeps me going is if I'm able to help one person finish a race, and that's why I really love a lot of these small ones. I mean, we've all done the Spartans, we've done those. I've been trying to focus more on the little ones. I mean, I've seen you out in Bend.
Oh yeah, that
was a fun one.
Yeah, I enjoyed those a lot.
You didn't make it out to the Ranch Challenge, did you?
No, I didn't get to make to that one.
That one was so much fun. You got to try and lasso a horse. It wasn't a real horse though. It was a fake horse.
Good.
So they were fake. I mean, yeah. And I mean, it was so much fun. And then the one in October, that one was fun. The challenge one that I did with Jesse and Tatiana, that was about a blast. And then we've got the other one coming up on September 11th. So, and I don't know if you're going to that one. I am. I know a lot of people aren't because they're going to the Beast, but
that's where I'll be.
I would rather be. I will sacrifice the Beast to go help Tammy. So, and to go do that race. I am coming back up. I will be doing the Super and the Sprint. But I am. I don't need the Beast really. I mean, for my trifecta, I'm going to be doing Dallas, so I'll have an extra Beast anyway. So
I'll be there as well.
I'm doing the Ultra because I'm retarded. I'm insane. I'm going.
Yeah, I won't be doing the Ultra. I'll be the one you'll be passing saying, Ultra, get out of the way. Ultra, get out of the way.
It's got to be interesting. It's because the Ultra, it's one of those ones I've had this talk with people because you're like me where it's like, I'd rather help people. But in the Ultra, I've kind of having to go into that one with a different mentality of there's time. There's all those kind of things. And I'm doing it with, Dawn and Jody and all them. And I pretty much told everyone, I'm like, hey, just not to sound bad, but I'm going into this with a mindset that if you're slowing me down and I'm going to miss a time hack, I'm sorry, but I got to go.
Yep.
You know, and we're all going into it with that mentality that, you know, if the group is holding one of us back, we're going to have to let them go. And
Right.
that's kind of the mentality you kind of have to go into, which is hard for me because that's complete opposite. You know, like I'm doing Washougal twice.
Oh,
I'm signed up for the morning to do competitive, and then I
nice.
signed up a second time to do open.
I will be there as well for that. But I'm doing it twice as well, but I'm doing it a different twice. So I'll be doing the Hurricane Heat Friday night for 4 hour, and then come back at 9 o'clock in the morning to run the open way.
Yeah, see, I'm doing the competitive and then turning around and doing open right afterwards. So I'm going to do the open with Jody, and I'm going to give Jody my open packet. So when I finish, I can just jump over with her and go. So
there you go.
But it's weird though. Once you know, like you've seen me, I've been on the weight loss journey and all that. Like a lot of my goals have changed. You know, it's kind of one of those things. I've done a lot of Spartans, and I love Spartan, but my goals I think are changing a little bit for next year. So now that I've done a triathlon, I think I may have just caught the triathlon bug. So
nothing wrong with that.
Oh, have you done one yet?
I have not done one yet.
Oh.
I'm still trying to drop on my weight loss. I'm still trying to get down in weight, but my biggest tackle is like on the weight loss journey is like I'm a pretty avid lifter. So, you know, the weight you normally lose through your cardio exercise, etc. Okay, I'm still staying about that same because I'm lifting heavy, I'm lifting regularly, etc. You go to my Facebook page, you'll see my workout from last night. I walked out there dripping sweat. It was bad, but you know, it's kind of a challenge. And people, it's funny, like I don't know if you had this problem, but people look at me like when I did the Dallas Stadium Series race here. What was it, last month? I never been to AT&T Stadium in my life. Only been to Dallas a couple of times, and I put on my plate carrier, latch it up, walk into the area to get registered, walk into the building, and it was funny how many people, like the different reactions you had, because there'd be these people running by saying, "Hey man, well, way to go! How much weight you got there? Good on you, mate." And I ran the entire thing in a plate carrier, and then you'd invariably have. And this is what I push back on Spartans a little bit, and Tough Mudder too. But you invariably had this one or two guys that had like the V cut, and they're all studly. And hey man, how much weight you got in there? 20 pounds. Oh, that's it. Yeah, you want to carry it? And nobody ever volunteered to carry it. No. So
that was me when I did the one. How much weight you got in there? And it's like, you know, and I'm like, you know, 20 pounds. You want it? And nope.
Exactly.
You know, because I did the whole Montana trifecta weekend because I'm insane. I did that with a 20-pound rock.
Oh, nice.
So I did the whole weekend, and I had a lot of people that were like, oh, you know, but then I've had other people when I've been around here running like, oh my God, that's so amazing, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, it's when you get to the events like that where they're just like, I'm also, you know, it's like, whatever, dude.
Well, it was funny because in Dallas in 2019, I had a different experience. It was the first beast I tried in Dallas. And I now know that in my standard kit, I got to pack the headlamp because I get out to, and I'm slow. I'm almost like the tortoise level slow. And actually, he's passed me a couple of times. But
you keep moving.
But keep moving, right? But I get out to a point where it's like I'm maybe 2 miles out of the finish line, and just the lights in Dallas or in Glen Rose there just went off. Like everything went dark, and I'm about ready to start crying because my body's absolutely racked to heck. And I run into these two, this husband and wife couple running the ultra, and I can't see anything. My feet are slipping around, and this lady goes, "Hey, honey, do you want to come with us? We'll happy to lead you across the finish line." And here's these two ultras that have been running the ultra in freaking Dallas, and they're willing to help me across the finish line. And we did. We all three ran across the finish line together and hugged each other. And I walked into the husband and wife and said, "I love you guys so much. Thank you for getting me out of a situation. But you know, you're running the ultra. I have nothing to complain about." So.
And it's one of those things you find those great, amazing people in Spartan. You do have the ones like you mentioned, but the majority of people, the great, amazing people like that. I remember doing Hawaii a couple of years back with Brandon and Jody, and I was supposed to be the one with the headlamp. Well, when I went to pack that morning, I had 2 packs, one for, the beast day, and then I had a second pack for the next day, that
Okay.
was smaller. So I grabbed the headlamp and I threw it from like across the room into my pack. Well,
Oh,
I threw it into the wrong pack.
ouch. I've done
So
that. I've done something like that before.
we're like sitting there and we're like basically same thing, about 2 miles from the finish. All the lights have gone out and we're like, shit. And I'm like, gotta grab the headlamp, and I'm digging through my pack and I'm like, I don't have it. I can't find it. I'm like, shit. And we ended up having, it was a father and son
Yeah.
that were going by, and they're like, do you want to just run with us? And we're like, sure. So all three of us jumped in and stayed with him and like ran with him, because once in Hawaii, once you got within, 200 yards of the finish line, the whole festival lit everything up. But they got us to that point. But it was just like, oh, awesome. We're going to be, we're like doing, have you ever done the spear throw in the dark?
No.
Yeah.
I tried. They wanted me to do that in Dallas. I went to the lady and went, nope, I'll hit somebody.
Oh, yeah, we did it. We did it where it was pure pitch black. And we sat there, we're like, I think it's over there. And I threw it. And I hear this thunk. And I'm like, well, I think it went in. Either that or I just killed somebody. So we're good.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah. Like either I got it or I killed somebody. So let's go.
This year, Dallas is at a whole new venue. So
yeah.
And I laughed about it because I looked at the name and I'm like, why does that sound familiar to me? Oh, it's one of my father's favorite Westerns, True Grit. And I'm like, okay, that makes all the sense in the world now. Okay, that's cool. So when my dad came with me to Dallas in 2019, and my dad's 73 and he's got some health problems and whatnot. But he wakes up the morning of the Beast and I go, okay, I'm getting ready to go to the Beast. And I asked asked Siri, okay, what's the temperature outside? It's 32 degrees. It's what? So we get to the race venue and it's freezing at the race venue. I'm like, wait, I'm in friggin' Texas. How is it cold? I had to go to the local Walmart, buy a like a lightweight jacket just so I can start the race. By the time the mid race happened, middle of the event, it's about maybe 70, 75. By the time you get back to the finish line, it dropped back down to maybe 35 degrees. So I've never had that experience in Dallas before. But I get back to the hotel and my dad's like, yeah, froze your butt off, didn't you? Yes. Did you finish? Yes, I did. Good man. Excellent. That was tough. So
I'm hoping it's not like that this year because, doing the ultras is going to be, yeah.
I'd pack a jacket, just my advice, because you never know. It'll be in, what is it? It's not as far out of Dallas as the other venue was. So I would at least pack a lightweight windbreaker or something.
For me, I'm one of those ones, and I would rather run in the cold.
Yeah,
like
sure.
when it snowed here and I went out and ran into 13-inch deep snow was the best. I could breathe, I could run, I felt good, I was good. I like just a little drizzle and about 60 degrees.
Yeah.
So once it gets past that, I start getting too hot. Like right now, I'm like, I still have to run sometime today, and I'm looking outside, and I'm like, it's like 80-something degrees. I'm like, I think I'll just wait till like midnight.
It's 104 out my front door right now. So
where are you at? Oh, I'm
in Wenatchee.
Yeah, you're in Wenatchee.
Dead center of the state, baby.
Oh. Yeah, no. I haven't had to go there since I switched jobs. I haven't had to go there. I used to have to go to Wenatchee once every 2 months, and I would stay.
Cool.
But
that's the reason we don't. It's the reason we don't have a whole lot of OCRs around here, is because it's freaking 104 right now, and this is a typical summer.
Here. Well, and that's the one thing I've told a lot of people is my biggest surprise is if I was Spartan or any of these races, I would be, rather than doing, Washougal's good, but rather than doing Seattle and Snohomish, I'd be over in Yakima.
Oh, yeah. Heck yeah. Absolutely.
Spokane, Tri-Cities. Go over there, because then you got the people coming over and they're like, oh, it's Washington. It's going to be nice and green and sunny, or nice and green and rainy. No, it's going to be a freaking desert.
Well, I recommended that to Joe Sena. I emailed him and said, hey, have you considered other venues besides just Washougal, which I love Washougal as well, and Snohomish? And he goes, he said, well, what do you recommend? I said, well, take a look at Wenatchee, which it might be a little harder for us to do it here, but take a look at Yakima, Tri-Cities, over there in Spokane. And he said, this is last year when I sent it to him, he said he'd send it to the product team. But it also, you have to get the venues that are willing to let you dig up their property and
I think the thing you're going into too is the major airports.
Yeah, well, you got Spokane that way and Seattle that way, so you technically fly to both of them. So, but they don't want to get in a car and drive.
Spokane's not really a freaking major airport, but
I agree, but I've been told it is now, which is funny because I didn't know any direct flights came out of Spokane, but whatever.
I'd say the last time I flew into Spokane was over 20-something years ago, and I mean it was like a one terminal.
That's what I got here. Huh? That's what I got here in Wenatchee. One terminal.
I can remember like watching out and being like, huh. I used to have a joke about the Wenatchee Airport that the airport code for Wenatchee Airport is EAT.
EAT.
Do you like the BeastNet? Do you want to keep hearing it? Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and more at BeastNetPod.
Wow. Okay. Moving on.
I was gonna have to cut that one.
That's all right. No big deal there. But
I did a comedy festival over there once, and that was that's how I opened.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Well, a lot better than the guy I ran into in California. He looks at my ticket in the bus I was on as a kid and goes, "You live in Wenatchee?" No, I live in Wenatchee. Wenatchee. No, Wenatchee.
I want to go with the Wenatchee because that makes it sound like at least interesting.
Well, yeah, but we spell it wrong too. The Native American tribe actually spells it with an I at the end instead of the double E.
Oh.
So but it's still pronounced Wenatchee. But no, there was a recommendation I made to Joe Sena, and it was one of these things that I think furthers the mission of Spartan, where we want to rip 100 million people off the couch. Great, fine. So there's a lot of times, a lot of the city dwellers that I know, they're not going to go out of their little city environments. They're going to stay wherever they're at. And I'm looking around AT&T Stadium. If you've not been there and ran that one or been there at all, holy cow, that thing is the biggest thing I've ever been in. It's like you walk in and like, dang, okay, that's cool. But I started thinking about it as I'm running the event. It's like there's enough space. You literally could do a beast and a super right here. So then do a stadium trifecta.
Yeah.
And he goes, well, that's a great idea. I'll forward it to the product team. You get a stadium that's willing to do, willing to let you put in that many events, that many obstacles on their property, and then you just have all 3 Leaf races right there.
We've actually, and it's one of those things I've never sent it to Joe, but something we've talked about before is because here in Seattle, you have Quest or T-Mobile Park or whatever
it is now.
All called now. T-Mobile and Lumen. T-Mobile Lumen Field, they're across the street from each other with a sky bridge between them.
Oh yeah, that'd be perfect. Heck yeah.
I mean, you could literally have a beast that went from one to the other and have a stadium race that goes between 2 stadiums.
That would be so cool.
So cool. But
the first one I did was 2018, I think it was, down in San Francisco at Oracle Park, or AT&T Park at the time. I think that's right. And I tell you, I would rather climb a mountain. I'd rather do Montana than sit there and climb stairs all day, even though it's a much shorter event. But if you were able to put enough obstacles in there to satisfy it, and have your 30 obstacles for your beast, have your 25 for your super, etc., then you could totally get the mileage out of the place without destroying it. But we'll see what I know there's some other projects in the pipeline like Spartan Cross, but those benefit like the folks winning prize money, the folks winning, doing the elite stuff and whatnot, not the average everyday person.
And that's it. And I think that's where, I mean, I get, making everything standard. And I know a lot of people had problems with making the Sprint, the Super, and the Beast standard, but I get it.
Are they standard though? Because they're still over the mileage.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't see any standards yet. Yeah.
But closer. I mean, it's like a lot of people are surprised when I talk about the first time I did Montana in 2015, and I remember seeing mile marker 19. So.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Wow.
There's arguments, people, depending on which program, tracking software you used, on whether it was 20 or 24 miles.
Whether it was an ultra or whether it was, wow.
So, I mean, it was a brutal, and I mean, because it was a founder's race. That's the one that a lot of people are surprised when they see the medal I have from that. It's a circle with spears coming off of it. And I've
cool.
never ever seen, I've heard a couple people say that there was similar ones from some of the others, but that was, they used to do, the first time they did a beast somewhere, they called it a founder's beast. And Joe, Norm, everyone would get together and make the most convoluted, screwed up race you've ever been on. We did in Montana, we did, there was the log carry, one of them, carry through a swamp.
Oh, dear God.
We were in water, chest deep water, carrying logs.
Oh, God. That sounds like something Joe would do.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that I saw that and that was my that was my introduction into Spartan.
Yeah.
And I have never seen a lot of the obstacles that they had on that race ever again.
Well, then again, it was still what, a 5-year-old company at the time.
Yeah.
So they were able to do stuff like that. Now they've got to be a little more standard. But yeah, that would be, dang, that'd be pretty epic to see.
Yeah, that was when I finished that race. That's why a lot of people are like, I'm surprised sometimes I still do them, because when I finished that, I looked at my wife and said, I'm never doing this again. This was stupid. But
well,
then,
go ahead.
I was then like half an hour later, I'm like, well, I have 2 free races because we volunteered before this. So, and the next thing I knew, I had a trifecta for the year. But
well, that's when this hurricane heat I did last year with Adam from Beast OCR. He was one of the cryptias, and I just felt this like stupid calling, like I've got to go try a hurricane heat. I may fail, and my speaker's talking to me. I may fail, but I at least got to go try it. So I bought all the equipment and I did all the stuff, and I get there, and my best friend went with me, and he's the one that got me involved in all this originally, and great dude. So, we get our packs, we show up early, and the guy goes, well, you've got, you're here like an hour and a half early, which was not smart. But he says, I've got this activity that'll benefit your team, but I can't tell you what it is. Yes or no, you're going to be participating in it. Like, okay, sure. Had to take water from an irrigation trough on this farm where they had the Boise races. Basically put it in our bucket with no handles, take it back to the parking lot a half mile away and dump it out. That was one. By the end of the night, by the end of that activity, we got 50 buckets dumped out. By the end of the night, he comes to us and says, okay, you are 186 minutes late for every single activity. So you can do 186 burpees, which I'd still be out there doing burpees. I'd still be there. Or you can do 50 deconstructed burpees. So we all chose to do the 50 deconstructed burpees. At any rate, by the time we got back to the hotel, my buddy and I, he's racked to heck. We're all sore. I look at him and I'm like, let's go do it again. He's like, Dave, you're crazy. I know, let's go do it again. I want to do it again. So I know the feeling, but
it is one of those things. Once you get into it, I know because I've actually only done 2 hurricane heats. I did one in, because when I did the first Spartan race, in 2015. In October was actually a sprint instead of a beast.
Oh,
in 2015 or 15, that was the first year they did a super, and then the next year they did April a super, and then made the October race a September race a beast. But in that first year it was a super, and that's what gave me my trifecta. I did Montana, Washougal, and then did the super at the end of the year, and I did the hurricane heat. But I was bigger, and I honestly, it was one of those ones for me. I felt like I was the one holding back the whole team, but it was a blast. And then the next, I did it again in April, and that's actually where the nickname Pretty Mike came from. So,
nice.
Dingo, the whole time, every time I messed with my hair, because I have a bad habit of messing with my hair, he kept going, "Come on, Pretty Mike, we got to go."
Yeah, I had that problem too.
Yeah, I know. him kind of making fun of me, but that turned into the nickname that stuck. So
nice. Well, I was the guy that was holding up the team. I was the biggest, and I was the slowest guy out there. In fact, we got over our warm up, we put our packs on, and I've never carried a 30-pound ruck in my life at this time. And he goes, okay, run out to the pasture, which is a half mile away. And I just tried to power walk it as fast as I could because that's what I could do. And this guy comes running up next to me, and he's trotting. He's like, "So, no running today?" You're not gonna run? Like, dude, I can't run. Like, I physically can't do it yet. Oh, okay. And if you remember the Warrior Creed, you know, we never leave a fallen comrade is one of them. And we had this activity where we had to tie our PVC pipes to our bucket with our ruck weight and haul it up this mountain about 2 miles away. And the whole team was gone. Like, I was coming out of the gate, they were just totally gone. And my rig comes apart and so forth. Adam comes up to me and says, "Hey, you all right?" I'm like, "I'm fine. I'm going to get up there." And I looked at the square in the eye and said, "You know what? You can fail me, but in order to get me to stop, you're going to have to kill me and bury me on the side of that mountain, because I'm not going to give up." And then the team came back and helped me. But by the end of the night, I got a new nickname, Iron Dave, because I wouldn't give up. So, yeah.
And that's amazing. And honestly, I find a lot of times it is us bigger guys sometimes that do find that, like, we have that different mentality when we go into it. It's like, we know we're not going to be the fastest. Even now when I've lost the weight, I know I'm not going to be the fastest, but I'm not going to quit.
Nope.
You know, it's like when I did my first marathon. I mean, it took me 9.5 hours. And everyone that started with me quit. And I'm like, cool. And I mean, I kept going. And there was a point, which, I mean, I think people who have listened to podcasts have heard me say it. I was basically crying because I was alone. I'd been doing this for over, you know, almost 9 hours, and I was all by myself. I mean, they were pulling down the course in front of me. Wow. You know, I mean, I was that far behind everybody, but I'm just like, I'm just going to keep going. You know, but they stayed at the finish line until I finished. I mean, they didn't close down the finish line until I got there, but it was still, you know, just total mind numbing. Like, everyone looking at me, like, one of the, like, people that was helping was like, you sure you just don't want me to give you a ride back to the finish line? And I'm like, no, I'm finishing this. I'm going, I'm doing this. I told myself I would. And I just kept, like, trudging along. And it was, a lot of people look at the bigger guys like, oh yeah, you can't do this. It's like, I may not be as fast as you, I may not be as quick as you, but I will not give up.
Nope,
and
that's agreed.
I have more pride in everything else for people like that, because I feel like it takes a lot more grit to keep going when you don't have the athleticism that some do. And is that to say that, you know, we shouldn't be trying to get it, which we all are. We're all trying to get that athleticism, but the fact that we don't have it doesn't stop us.
Absolutely. Well, and that's one of the biggest takeaways from, like, my effort with Common Man is, you know what? No matter what happens, don't give up. Yeah. Surrender is not an option. Nope. If you're out there like this beast out in Dallas I told you about, it took me 10.5 hours to do that beast. I was one of the last set of people to cross the finish line. But I crossed the finish line. There's another story I'll tell you. I went to Fayetteville, North Carolina, which at the time I had never been to North Carolina in my life. Didn't even know anything about North Carolina. It's like, that looks cool, I'm going to go. And this is 2019, actually. And I get to the hotel. I'm maybe 20 miles away, 30 miles away from the race venue. And I have my rental car, get to the hotel, go to sleep, wake up the next morning. I have what I call a 5-alarm migraine, meaning that I can't move. Like, my head just was pounding, and I'm like, I need to stop. I need to not do this. And it was only a super, because it wasn't even that big. But I get out there, and I get up, I go downstairs to the cafeteria. I literally have 1 spoonful of eggs and maybe a piece of the nasty, you know, sausages they have at hotels. And I go back upstairs, get my race gear on, get myself to the car, my head's still pounding, and I start making the trek out to the race venue. Almost fell asleep at the wheel because I was just so dead exhausted. Pull over, get to a gas station, take a power nap, go inside, get an energy drink, which I don't recommend doing energy drinks. They're not good for anybody, but in this case, it was what was needed for me.
Sometimes just do what you got to do.
Finally got to the race venue at 1 o'clock. I was the last heat out the door, and get to a point where the race boss, the race director, is actually, like, walking with me throughout the rest of the event and coaching me on what to do, how to do this obstacle, how to do that obstacle. Why I learned so much about designing a race course for Spartan. It wasn't even funny. And then one of the volunteers, a lady by the name of Duff, and the race director is Woody Peters. God bless that man. And Duff, they just stuck with me the whole rest of the race. They were doing the whole sweeping, cleaning up, but they're like, we're not going to let you quit. Like, you want to finish? Great. We get to the very end, and they had the A-frame right before you do the multi-rig and cross the finish line. And Woody looks at me and goes, "Hey, you want to do this?" I'm like, "Yes, I do." Good man. And it was the coolest thing was all the volunteers and all the staff. They started coming around the A-frame, and they all found out my name was Dave, and they all said, "Dave, oh, come on, you got this, buddy." And I climbed the A-frame, and I failed the multi-rig, but go figure. And then I just made a beeline. I'm looking at the finish line going, "You're right there. Okay, let's go." And just gave it everything I had to cross that finish line. And it was just the coolest feeling.
And it is. And because I've been that last guy too. I did Montana. A lot of people know this story, 2016, 17, one of those two. And it was me, Jody, Stevie, and Emily. And we were coming along, and Emily wasn't even with us to begin with. We found her along the way. She was a good friend of ours, part of the team. And we ran into Emily, and she was broken. I mean, mentally gone. Like, she giggled and shuffled her feet for the last 3 miles, never said a word to us, nothing. Just done. Wow. But we were still walking, we're still going, and Hammond caught up to us.
Oh, wow.
And Hammond was the sweep. And my friend Stevie looks at him and goes, "You can do whatever you want, but we're not getting off this mountain. We are finishing this race." And Hammond turns and looks at her and says, "That is the correct answer. Everyone behind you quit. Let's go." And he stuck with us the whole way. He talked to us. Emily tried to walk off the thing and quit, and Hammond's like, "Nope, come on." She was even at one point, Emily's throwing dirt at Hammond like, "I hate you, I hate you, I hate you." But he still just like helped us get through, and he radioed ahead and told our friends like, "Hey, we've got them. They're back here. They're safe. They're good." And it was one of the best feelings I ever had. And I can remember it so well because at that time I was part of street team, which I still technically am. And I was supposed to volunteer after my race. But that obviously wasn't happening because we were, I think it was over almost 12 hours.
Yeah.
And I remember going up, and Stacy was the lead at that time of street team, and he was there, and I'm like, "I don't think I'm going to make my shift." And he just started laughing. He gave me a big hug, but it was like everybody was there waiting for us, clapping, cheering. And I mean, it was amazing. It was one of the greatest feelings. When you are that last racer, they don't forget about you. That's one thing I've always loved about Spartan. They don't forget that last race. They make sure that they will announce to all the volunteers that are in this festival, "Hey, last race is coming in. Let's go." Let's all to go cheer them on.
And, it's funny you mentioned Steve Hammond. I love that guy too. He
a Scottish guy. Call him Brady, gets mad.
So mental note, don't call him British. Got it. So he I'm Irish, so I get that point. The first beast I did in Seattle area, or there in Snohomish, I started cussing about like, "This friggin' race director, what a jackwad, this is stupid, doggone it." And I'm just angry at everybody but myself, and including myself. And I see Steve out there being the sweep, and I've never met Steve before. And I'm like, "Oh," and I just got done saying something stupid about the race director to my friend that was walking with me. And I'm like, "Oh, shoot, that's the race director. Hello, Mr. Hammond." He just laughed. And then a couple of years later, we get to Whistler, to the sprint of Whistler. And Whistler is, it's like kind of like Montana, I reckon. It's, that straight up going up. And I get to the top of the first hill where it starts to come down. And I send Steve a message like, "Okay, dude, you just killed me, but dude, I love it. This is awesome. Thank you so much." And by the time I got down to the sandbag carry, he was right there. He's like, "Hey, how you doing? How's it going?" "I'm good. This is awesome, dude. Way to go."
I make sure if Hammond's there, I go find him every time because he became once he came down with us after that, he became a special person to me. Yeah. There is a hill though in Montana that we call the "You Hammond Hill."
I got to see that someday.
Because it is one of those hills that you keep going up and up and up and up, and you're like, "Okay, I can see the top. We're good." And then you crest it, and then you realize you're only halfway to the top. There's a whole nother hill after it. So every time we hit that, we're like, "F you, Steve."
That's the 1 mile. That's like the 1 mile straight up, right, or something like that. Yeah, okay. I know the hill you're talking about. I actually didn't get to do. I was actually signed up to go do Montana this year, and then my dad went in the hospital. And the second that happened, he's like, "Go do your races." Like, yeah, no. So I'm gonna take care of you. But yeah, Hammond is, and he's got his buddy Garfield Griffiths out on the other side of the nation. I need to meet him one of these
they're
days.
doing all this stuff together now, so that
Yeah, I
scares
know.
me.
Well,
Those two minds together is going to kill us all.
Seattle should scare the crap out of you then, because I'm sure we're going to have a party. So, is Hammond doing Washougal, or is that somebody else?
I don't know. I'm not sure, but I'm kind of hoping, because I know Jody told me that she saw him when she did a race, and he said, "I'll see you in Washougal." So I think he's at least going to be there. So
yes, that makes me happy.
He's one of my favorite people. He's one of the things that keeps me wanting to do Spartan. I love Hammond. So.
Well, and then the what is it, December, which is I'm excited about. I got to figure out how to get there, because
Central Florida.
I'm going to Florida, hopefully.
I'm already signed up for the whole trifecta.
So am I. But I got that buddy of mine I told you about that got me started in this. He's now and fellow man, if you're hearing this, buddy, no disrespect, mad props. He's going to go with me, and he's going to run the Tough Mudder because he likes Tough Mudder better. So he's going to go run all 3 Tough Mudders. I'm going to go run all 3 Spartans. And then I said, well, whoever gets the worst time, which will probably be me, has to buy dinner. So he's like, okay, cool. Well, the problem is I didn't tell him where I'm buying you dinner at. McDonald's is considered a meal, right?
But to some people, but
yeah, not to me.
After everything I've been eating, it goes right through me.
Yeah, but we're gonna go out there, and I emailed Joe Sena about it. I said, by the way, we've got this contest. My buddy's gonna run Tough Mudder, and I'm gonna run Spartan because I'm Team Red. He's Team whatever color Tough Mudder is. So we'll see how that goes. But trying to figure out how to get out there is going to be the challenge right now, because it's not cheap.
No, and that was actually what was funny is I still had 3 races between me and my wife, and that I had to use before July 1st. And she's like, "What do you want to do?" I'm like, "I don't know." And then she's like, "Well, guess we're going to Florida in December." So she loves to travel, and she loves warm. So,
well, yeah. Well, the funny thing is, the previous month, I'm going to Boston.
Nice.
Hopefully, I say hopefully because I haven't gotten there yet. But I'm going to Boston during the Stadium Series at Fenway.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Okay. But yeah, it'll be cool, all right, because I'm going to Boston in the first part of November in Boston. So
that's
I'm just
gonna be cold.
Yeah, it's gonna be nippy. So we'll see how that goes.
It's definitely gonna be a tidbit nipply. So
a little bit, but I asked Joe. I just sent him an email and said, "Hey, I'm Lord willing, I'm coming out for this event. Can I, if I get a rental car, can I pop up to Riverside Farm and go run Mount Spartan?" "Oh, of course." And I'm like, "Wait, what the heck did I just do?" Oh, crap.
You just asked if you could do the fun.
82-pound chain, baby. Here we go. Yeah, no. So we'll see if I actually get that far. But
I say, because my guess is if you go up there to run it, and Joe's going to meet you there.
I'm dead. I'm just friggin' dead at that point.
And we're never going to hear from you again because you're going to be buried on the side of that mountain.
That's all right. If I give it my all. But
just remember, you signed a waiver.
Yeah, if you die, it's not his fault. Because that waiver applies to you going to Riverside Farm too. So, and then they just got done with the death race. I still, for the life of me, don't understand the purpose of that event. I know it's got a purpose, but I look at it like I'm never gonna ever qualify to ever be anything part of that.
Like I said, I've been leaning more towards the triathlons. Now that I did one, I've been bit by the triathlon bug. I'm doing, which is brilliant planning on my part, pretty much the weekend after the Spartan races, I'm going to go do a triathlon. I'm going to do an Ironman, a half Ironman.
You're crazy. You are absolutely crazy.
So like 7 weeks from now, I'm going to do a half Ironman. So
that's nuts, man. I've got these 2 races in one of my races in a place called Omak, which is just north of me, got canceled because of the smoke up there.
I just saw that, and that sucks. I was looking forward to the OMAC. I was kind of worried about doing it because would have been the weekend right after I got back from Hawaii, but I still wanted to support Claire. But yeah, unfortunately, OMAC canceled.
Yeah, hopefully they'll be on the docket for next year. I really want to try that one.
Hopefully.
But I've got the September 11th trifecta weekend. I'm running 2 Tough Mudders, the 25th and 26th of September. Then October is the Beast and Sprint out in Dallas. then Fenway, then in December Oracle Park, and then the 3 in Florida. So it's a busy rest of the year for me.
Yeah. I know I've got Washougal, and then right after Washougal, Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm doing the full trifecta in Hawaii. And then
Nice.
in September, I'm doing the Rise Challenge event on the 11th, and then coming back up here the next day to do the Super and the Sprint.
Cool.
And then the next weekend, I'm doing the Ironman 70.3 in Washington.
That is cool.
And then after that, it's Dallas Ultra, and then the 3, and then a marathon in November, and then the 3 in Florida in the middle of December.
I'm still not hearing a lot of Tough Mudder in there anywhere. Have you considered Tough Mudder
No,
anytime?
I want to, and I need to, and I need to, and I want to, but I completely forgot to sign up for them, so I got to figure that one out. I want to do them. I've only done one Tough Mudder, and I want to do another one, and I'm thinking about it. And if I don't do the ones that are coming up, and if Charity's able, if they open the border and Charity Fick is able to come down and do it, I better be out there. She's going to kill me.
Yeah. Tough Mudder's a special has a special place in my heart because it was the first one I did. So
yeah.
And I tried it, but did you try any of the virtual races last year?
I did a couple of Spartan ones, but it was more kind of the workouts. I did them because Dawn was doing them and wanted to do them. I did do the trifecta weekend with the Spartan virtual. I didn't do any of the Tough Mudder ones. I did do a lot of the rock and roll, and actually I'm still doing all of the rock and roll virtuals. Those have been a lot of the ones that have motivated me. Yeah,
I did the Tough Mudder, some of the Tough Mudder ones. I got a bunch of the coins on my wall over here. So you see my metal wall over there in the corner.
Nice.
So that's got all my headbands, and then like Bloomsday. I did a virtual run here recently for the Marine Corps, and it was the Ton Tavern 10, and one of those mini shirts because the Marine Corps started a place called the Ton Tavern over on the East Coast. But it was just go out and run a 10K and submit your time. So the virtual races I've been pretty impressed with. But the people that ask me like, what motivates you? I'm like, I signed up for it. I put a date on the calendar. I use the Spartan paradox. I got a date in the calendar. This is what I'm going to go do. I'm not going to, I've made it public that I'm going to go do this, and just going to go do it. So.
You see, that was me, the rock and roll ones, because they had something every weekend. So every weekend, wow. And I mean, my goal was, but you didn't have to pay for them. A lot of them were free. If you wanted the medal, you had to pay for it. So, but the race to do the virtual was just free. If you wanted a medal, I'm like, I did that for the first couple, and then I'm like, this is expensive. And then just started, just doing the races and not getting the medals. But I ended up, because like last year I did, I think 1,500 miles in a year. So
wow,
I do at least 100 miles a month now, and that was one of the things that keep me going. Like this month, I've slacked. I've got 4 miles left and 2 days to do it, so I should be okay. But
podcast will end soon, so you just go out there now. Yeah. Well, I hope to actually get to that point. That's kind of my goal. I used to run when I was in high school. I used to just go out and just run and get to the point where I can start running again. Mm-hmm. That's one of my long-term plans. So
for me, I just kept moving and just kept getting faster as I moved, and that's what it is. I just kept moving.
Absolutely, that's where I'm at too. Although I did do, what was it? I did do a race recently, or what was it? It was Spartan Stadium, or no, it was the sprint in Arizona that I actually set a new PR for myself.
That's awesome.
The problem with that, if you've never been to the one in Arizona, because I just, it was the first race of the year for me in this area. I tried it, whatever. My SGX coach says do ankle exercises because the sand is really deep. And I'm like, okay, whatever. Well, Andrew, I owe you a big apology because the sand wasn't just deep; it was like deep. So by the time I got done with the super, I felt like I ran the beast. Because
sounds like Vegas.
Yeah, it's what it is, Vegas. That one. It's in Arizona. It's in Arizona, but yeah, they call it the Vegas one. I'm gonna do it again next year because it was a whole lot of fun. But the funny thing for me was seeing Paul LaChance, the guy who was 79 years old. I love him to death. Yep. But seeing Paul LaChance pass me, I'm like, I just got passed by almost octogenarian. Okay, I gotta move. Time to go. So Paul really motivated me to keep going. But you get to you get to the Hercules hoist. You do the Hercules hoist, and then there's this hill you got to go up so you can come down the other side of the hill. The hills for motocross racing. I put my hand down and I lift my hand back up. My hand hurts, and I got my gloves on. Like, what's the matter? Pull my glove off, and little stickers from a red cactus were in my hand. We don't have cacti up here.
No.
So I'm like, that sucks. Okay. Spent the rest of the night at the hotel going, ow, dang it, ow.
Yep.
So
no, that's a great course. I love Vegas. All right. Well, we should probably wrap it up here. We're getting close to that hour mark where Don starts getting mad at me. So what would you like to say to the listeners in closing?
In closing, anybody can do an obstacle course. They don't have to do obstacle courses. They can just get off the couch and go run around the block. If you want to better yourself, better your health, get off the couch, take control, and get moving. That's pretty much it.
Yeah. Perfect. Well, Dave, it's been great. I can't wait to see you in Washougal.
I'll see you there.
Shortly. So we'll see you there, and I will talk to you soon.
All right, brother. Catch you later.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the BeastNet podcast. If you haven't done it yet, find us on Facebook, like and share the podcast. Give us a review on iTunes or Spotify. All these things will help to expand the show in the future. Don't forget to subscribe and let us know what you think and what you'd like to hear.